morning, good afternoon, or good night, depending on when you're watching this. How's it going, guys? First off, I hope you're having a good day today. Hope your days go well and hope it continues to go well. Welcome back to Coffee Corner, the show that I do live here on YouTube, where I talk about really whatever live on Fridays at noon Eastern Standard Time. And today is a very special episode because it's pre-recorded. Because by the time this goes out, I'll be making my way to Pittsburgh, where I'm going to be seeing Joan Jett, Def Leppard, Poison, and Motley Crue. Really excited about that concert. Love 80s hair metal and all of that stuff. So I wanted to pre-record this. It's currently 9:50 at night. There's no coffee in this mug. It is actually just water. But like I said, I'm still giving you a coffee talk this week. And I asked you guys over in the YouTube community section what you wanted me to talk about. And you want to hear about my music journey. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And we're not going to go into the whole guitar playing aspect today. Really, we're not going to go into any instrument aspect. We can talk about that another time because that kind of weaves into the guitar story as well. So I think what we're going to focus on today is what music means to me, how that's evolved over time, my taste of music, music influences on me, so on and so forth. So that was what we're going to be talking about today. But before we continue, I do want to know, because I don't have a live chat to fuel me. This is not you guys. I can't see that because it's 9:50 at night. But I want to know, how are you? How was your week? What do you have looking forward to this weekend? Because genuinely, I would love to know. Something I'm looking forward to is I'm also seeing Metallica on Sunday. So super exciting stuff, weekend of concerts. But anyway, guys, let's go ahead and get right into it. This is my music journey. Let's go. I guess we should start from the very beginning. My first sentient thoughts revolved around going down to the park, going to the mail, seeing the blue sky, watching Dragon Ball Z on the TV downstairs, and watching and listening to music. From what I remember as a kid, music was everywhere around the house, whether that be through the car, whether that be through radio, whether that be from the parents putting music videos on TV, whether it would be VH1 or MTV. I remember absorbing in a lot of music, and one of my first favorite songs was Lenny Kravitz's Fly Away. And I used to call it the Dragonfly song because he calls himself Dragonfly in the very first verse. But I remember watching a whole bunch of music videos like Clint Eastwood by the Gorillaz and being so mesmerized by that video because, ooh, cartoons and a cool song to go with it. Uncle Kracker stuff, Nickelback, This Is How You Remind Me, which is a good song. Regardless of Nickelback opinions, This Is How You Remind Me is a good song. Shania Twain, Man, I Feel Like a Woman, a song that I can no longer stand. Shania Twain, that don't impress me much. I do like that song. Pink, NSYNC, Enrique Iglesias, Lil Bow Wow, and Creed, and so many more. And thinking about all this stuff just gives me a little nostalgia trip because I just loved music when I was a kid. And my parents, I'm very lucky because my parents have a wide variety of taste in music because my parents both like that classic rock. My dad loved 80s hair metal and that new metal stuff. My parents really kind of both like that new metal stuff. Like they both like Disturbed, from what I remember. maybe my mom just put up with Disturbed, I don't know. They listen to Linkin Park. My mom would listen to pop tunes on the radio, which is how we listen to NSYNC a lot. Then my parents are both into country music as well. So I grew up a lot with Big and Rich was a big one. I still love listening to Big and Rich to this day. Garth Brooks, another big one, another artist who I love. Toby Keith, Kenny Chesney, and many other artists in that, Blake Shelton, and many other artists in that country genre. And a lot of my dad, again, was that classic rock, that 80s hair metal stuff, like Joan Jett, Def Leppard, Poison, and Motley Crue, who I'm gonna go see today, and just a lot. And like they would always have CDs that we would be listening to. And me and my sister were young kids. We would burn CDs just filled with our favorite songs. These would be favorite songs that we would hear on the radio that our parents would listen to, and we would just recite the lyrics, and that would be the name of the songs. We would like sing a line. My parents know exactly what we were talking about. But we would make these CDs as kids, and just have a lot of stuff on there. And really, these CDs also included a lot of TV show themes, because TV show themes I thought were also great. That was one of my favorite parts about TV shows, was the themes were so catchy. One of my favorite, like, I remember a CD having the Fairly Odd Parents theme. I remember one having the Yu-Gi-Oh theme, a Pokemon theme. How can you not have the Pokemon theme on there? And so much more. We would also get these CDs from stores, and a lot of them were Disney CDs. Like, they would sell these old classic Disney songs on these compilations. We had Volume 1, which I was looking at the other day. There's Just a Show Lovely, and like, it started off with A Whole New World, when The Lion King had Mary Poppins on there, had Little Mermaid, Tarzan. It didn't have Tarzan on there, but it didn't have Hunchback. I wish I had Hunchback. Hunchback is my favorite. I had a whole bunch of these really great classic Disney songs on there. We're going from This Is Cool to This Is Really Old, like the original Parent Trap, to The Monkey's Uncle, which featured the Beach Boys, to just some instrumentals at the ends. And we remember listening to that a lot. And then when we were in the car with our parents, we listened to, of course, we were at the mercy of what they wanted to listen to. So when we were with my mom, it would be a lot of country music. And I like country music, old school country music. I don't like today's bro country music. I like old country music, like early 2000s to 2005, lower. Anything that on, not so much. I like the old fashion country music, and so does my dad. My mom kind of likes the newer stuff too, but mainly I just like that old country music, except for Chris Stapleton. Chris Stapleton is a huge exception to that, because Chris Stapleton is really good. Let's see. With my dad, it would be all over the place. Mainly like the rock stuff. We would listen to Van Halen and other stuff in that, like 80s hair metal, Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison again. And that would be a lot of that stuff. And we would eventually get Sirius XM for the car, which when me and my sister were in there, we would listen to a lot of the Disney Channel the Sirius XM had. I don't know if it still has it, but we had it on there a lot. So we listened to a lot of Disney songs, a lot of these kid-friendly artists, and including some songs that weren't exactly kid-friendly, but they did censor it out, like Sean Kingston, Beautiful Girls. They had a weird radio arrangement of that one together. But really, all growing up, before I developed my own music tastes, I listened to country and pop music. That was my wheelhouse there. Then everything changed when I hit the 5th grade. So for context, this is like around 2007, 2008, yet the year that it was and the grade that I was in, I never can remember, and I've always been like that even when I graduated. I just know I graduated in 2016, and that was it. But 2007, 2008, my favorite year for pop radio, because it had like stuff like Bruno Mars starting to get into it. It had Black Eyed Peas becoming popular. Dynamite was the song. Airplanes featuring Bob. Kanye was on there, but that's besides the point. We're talking about 5th grade, where I got introduced to rock music for the first time properly, where I discovered it organically, because me and my sister came home from school. We go to our grandparents' house because our parents weren't home from school yet. I go into the back room of my grandma's house, turn on the TV, and I stumble across VH1. I was channel surfing, and I heard music, so immediately I was hooked in. This was, the program that I stumbled on was VH1's 100 Greatest Hard Rock Songs, according to them, of course. But it was so fixated on it. I turned it on at the very beginning of their program, to where it was songs 100 through 80. They would break it up into hour chunks of 20 songs. And I was so fixated because I've never heard sounds like this before. Well, that I could recognize. Again, but my dad loved hard rock, hair metal, and new metal, but I didn't like it when I was younger then, I guess. I don't know. But this is the first time hearing it on myself, and I was just so fixated on the guitars. so fixated on the drums, the bass, the vocals, the commentary that was being given with the songs. And I heard many songs for the very first time. I found a Spotify playlist of it. And like, this is the first time I ever heard Carry On My Wayward Son, Bullet with Butterfly Wings. The first time I heard Smashing Pumpkins, Alice in Chains, Marilyn Manson, Wasp, Evanescence, Bring Me to Life, Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell, and Black Sabbath, Paranoid as well. First time I heard Journey, first time I heard Soundgarden in Seven Nation Army, and it just keeps going. And I remember being so fixated on this. I did not, and I didn't know what channel it was on, so it's like when we went home, I did not turn on the TV, but I was so fixated on the songs I learned. I think I actually wrote down the songs that I really enjoyed, like Cult of Personality by Living Colour, Tush by ZZ Top, Jailbreak, Mountain Song, so much more. But that really got me going into rock music. So when I got home, I did look up songs on the computer, and I was just really into it. And 5th grade was around the time, I think it's in most cases, where I was starting to develop that angst. Like, angsty teens. That's where about mine was starting, trying to find my place in the world. Because I was a weird kid. I cried a lot, and that was my thing. I was that kid who cried in the corner over nothing. And I don't know why I cried. It just happens. But I was trying to find my place, and the rock music really got me through, which became a long path into diving deep into rock music, looking up VH1's classic hard rock songs, listening to the songs that I didn't get a chance to listen to, such as Korn, Megadeth, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Cream, Dio, Quiet Riot, Ted Nugent, Whitesnake, Classic Ozzy, Hendrix, Rush, Deep Purple, Judas Priest, Metallica, and so much more. And Metallica became interesting because they became my favorite band. They became my favorite metal band. When I first started playing guitar, I wanted to play Metallica songs only. I can't play a Metallica song to this day because I can't get the picking right. I wish I could play a Master of Puppets. I need to watch lots of videos on how to. But Metallica became my favorite band. I only listened to Metallica. I studied Metallica history. I could tell you the history of Metallica, and I could tell you the history of Megadeth too. I could tell you a little bit about Anthrax, can't really tell you anything about Slayer, but Metallica has always been one of my favorite bands. The first album I ever bought was Metallica, and I remember looking through CDs somewhere in the house, and I finding a Megadeth Countdown to Extinction CD as well, thinking I discovered the holy grail of music, and finding stuff that my parents listened to, stuff my dad listened to, and just being absorbed into all of this rock music. And eventually I want to get heavier, so I started listening to Sabbath. I want to get heavier, so I started listening to Disturbed. I want to get heavier, and then I'm listening to Slipknot. I'm like, okay, that's too heavy for me right now, so just slipping back into the thrash metal scene. And just metal and rock music was my life for the longest time. I love the 80s hair metal too. Quiet Riot is one of my favorites, with Mental Health, Bang Your Head, and Come On Feel the Noise. But metal became a large part of my life, and where I just shut out all pop music. I was like, pop music sucks. LMFAO party rock anthem sucks. Sexy, I know it sucks. Oh, 21 Pilots Tear My Heart. That's garbage. That actually happened, and my friend called me out on it. And this is when Tear My Heart became a thing. And like, my musical taste was eventually changing. Guess we are jumping ahead to my 21 Pilots love a bit. But let's change into where I started to become more accepting of other music rather than just rock and heavy metal. I really want to say I started to break out of that heavy metal music when I started to wanting to impress other people. Because sure, I could play Metallica riffs, I could play Sabbath riffs, but my friends listen to pop and music and more modern rock. So I was like, alright, I guess let me try to impress them. So I remember learning the melody to Super Bass by Nicki Minaj on guitar. I remember learning how to play Party Rock Anthem on guitar. And going into high school, I was still firm in my heavy metal, hard rock beliefs. And then, 10th grade, my sophomore year, I started coming out my shell a little bit more. And me coming out my shell also became more accepting to other pop music. So I started listening to, what really helped that was listening to covers of pop songs, but more in the rock style. Like listening to Jonathan Young is a great example of that stuff, because he just covered a lot of these pop songs on rock so well. Like One Direction, Drag Me Down, to where it's like, all right, let me go listen to the original. And it's like, oh, I'm a fan of One Direction now. That's a thing. But becoming more accepting of all music, especially since I had more and more friends, and they're like, introduced me to their music. And when I started doing musical, I was exposed to more pop music and more musical music, and became more accepting of that. And then I get sophomore year, when I did my first musical, Les Miserables, where I ruined my tenor range because I had to scream all my parts, causing me to become a bass and baritone, was the first time I heard 21 Pilots. And the whole 21 Pilots story, I'll touch briefly, but we have a whole video on that. I'll link it down in the description box video for people who want to know my story getting into 21 Pilots, my favorite band, one of my favorite bands right now. And there was this kid, and he was really like 21 Pilots. First song I ever heard was Car Radio, and he was filming a video where he was doing the Tyler, now we just sit in silence thing. And I'm thinking, okay, that's weird. Blurry Face comes out, Tear My Heart, I hear on the radio, and I'm like, this song sucks. Tweet it, my friend yells at me, introduced me to 21 Pilots music more, and become a fan of 21 Pilots. I need a drink, my throat's killing me. Okay, so junior year, business as usual. Senior year, business as usual, except I started listening to rap music. My buddy Orion showed me. For whatever reason, the first rap people he showed me were NWA, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, Ice Cube, and a lot of those guys. And I liked all of it. I really enjoyed all that music. Then I started getting into Eminem. Then I started getting into Tech 9, who is still one of my favorite rappers. So that senior year of high school comes to a close. Summer of 2016, I first started getting into sea shanties. I was ahead of the curve on the shanty movement. Everyone got exposed to sea shanties through the Whalermen TikTok trend. I was first. I am a shanty hipster. Quote me on that. But I listened to a lot of Stan Rogers, listened to a lot of the Assassin's Creed Black Flag soundtrack, a video game I've never played, but I do own over in the corner that I might stream one day. Got into a lot of the Dreadnoughts, Great Big Sea, so on and so forth. So then we start college, and introducing classical music to the equation. I'm not a stranger to classical music. Did marching band and concert band through high school, so I knew classical music. My favorite little kid show was Little Einsteins, so I'm fine there, but you know, you listen to a lot of Beethoven, you listen to a lot of Mozart, Brahms, Chopin, Bach, lots of Bach, too much Bach. But I still listen to all my rock stuff, still listen to all of my shanties, still listen to 21 Pilots. Moving into, well, actually no, let's stay there for a moment. Let's focus in to meeting my friend Dave for the first time. I've talked about him a couple times, he's featured on the channel before. Dave, if you're watching this, hi, I'm talking about you and how you introduced me to Devin Townsend in Devin Townsend Project, the DPT, as well as Dance Gavin Dance. My exploration into metal erupted again. I started listening to Devin Townsend, who is one of my favorite metal artists of all time. Then I started getting into Meshuggah and a lot of the deep stuff, heavier stuff. And then going into Swancore, this technical guitar playing mixed with math rock. And Dave introduced me to math rock too, and Yvette Young. But like just all the Swancore stuff with Royal Coda, with Dance Gavin Dance, and just so good, so good. And Will Swan is the most underrated guitarist living today, because man, more people should know about him. But Dave graduates, and we're still friends to this day. I know where he lives. He knows where I live. We're friends. And then my other friend, who has been on the channel before, Paul. Paul is a high school friend. He went to become a watchmaker, moved to Chicago, and one day he texts me, "Have you ever heard of this band called Fish?" "No, Paul, I have never heard of this." So I look up Fish, listen to them. I think one of the first songs I heard was like "Son of a Mule" and "Down with Disease." I'm like, I don't think this is for me. Turn it off, forget about it. He comes home, I don't remember when. It was winter. We hang out, we come back to my place, he picks up my bass because he's a bass player, I pick up my guitar, we jam a bit, he's like, alright, we're gonna listen to Fish. And the first song he introduced me to was "You Enjoy Myself," live from, I want to say, Dick's Coliseum. And my mind was blown. 23 or 29 minutes of this live performance, and I was so dumbfounded. It was one of the best things and most amazing things I ever heard, and was so blown away by their musicality. Then we watched Harry Hood, and we watched more performances. I'm like, this is everything. This is what I want to do. So Fish became a huge part of my life and became my favorite band with a guitar player. My favorite band without is 21 Pilots. Until this last album. Now there's a guitar player there, but so that all happens. And then my sophomore year, I started getting introduced to jazz music. This is where the jazz influences come in, with Miles Davis, with John Coltrane, to Bill Evans, as well as the guitar players such as Charlie Christian, to George Benson, John Schofield, to Wes Montgomery, to Pat Metheny, who is insane, to Mike Stern, to Larry Carlton, to Carlos Santana, who does count because he played with Miles Davis, so I'm counting that. But also getting introduced to a lot of these amazing jazz musicians and taking influence from really every jazz musician, not just exclusively jazz guitar players, but really taking an influence from trumpet players, saxophone players, piano players, drummers, the way they do rhythm and all that stuff, becoming this whole well of absorption. And really also getting inspired by all the musicians that were around me at college and all my professors, because they're all beasts, they're all insane people. And then around this time, the commercial music program in my school started to take off with the commercial music ensemble, to where we played every genre under the sun. We played Marvin Gaye tunes, we played Prince tunes, we played Michael Jackson tunes, Joan Jett, we've done a lot. Johnny Cash, Tina Turner, a whole Motown tribute concert, Marvin Gaye, did I say Marvin Gaye already? Joni Mitchell, so many people. So, Carrie Underwood, Lady Gaga, so many artists. And just learning to appreciate all music, because every piece of music has something to offer that you can take away and you can walk away with. And every single piece of music I've listened to ever, I may like, I may not like, but I can still find influence in it. Like my buddy is listening to Spain by Chick Corea. I can take influence in that. Another buddy is listening to the Beatles. I can take influence in that. My girlfriend was listening to the Blue Band for some reason. Okay, lovely. I can find influence in marching bands. My other buddy, Anji, is listening to Wiz Khalifa. I could probably find influence in Wiz Khalifa too. But really, college is what made me appreciate all music more. Of course, still having my favorite bands, but becoming less and less picky, to where I can listen to whatever. You can give me a worship song and I can find appreciation in that. You can give me a song in a foreign language, I can find appreciation in it. You can give me K-pop, J-pop, wherever, I can love it. And really, there's not a lot of music I can say I don't like anymore, because genuinely I like and love all music. My favorites to this day are sea shanties, Great Big Sea, Alan Doyle, Grateful Dead, Fish, and 21 Pilots, and I have a whole video dedicated to my 11 favorite bands of all time, well, currently, which you can check out in the description box below as to that video as well. But really, the whole summary of this is that music is my life. Music is a way for me to express myself. It's a way to cry. It's a way to heal. It's a way to be happy. A way to get my anger out. A way to communicate. A way for me to speak when I can't think. It's my thoughts when my thoughts aren't there. It's the thing that's always there for me when no one else is. Music is my life. I don't know what I would do without it. Certainly the channel would not be here today, but music is everything to me. And that's where I'm going to wrap this video. I don't know how long this is. It's going to be 30 minutes. It's going to be less than 30 minutes. I don't know. My throat's getting so dry. So I'm going to go get water. I'll see you all. Maybe on Monday. I might take tomorrow off because I'm going to be tired from the concert. We'll see. Well, Coffee Talk will resume live on Friday next week. Anyway, guys, I'll see you then. Goodbye. And good night. More importantly, have a good day. And I'll see you later.